taking it over. Book drop. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. Or afternoon.
The book drop. We got to make a song for the book drop now. The book drop.
Hey, the book drop, book drop, book drop, book drop.
Hello and welcome to The Book Drop, Omaha Public Library's podcast about books, our community, and the joy of reading. I'm Maggie Peterson. I'm the Outreach Manager for Omaha Public Library, and I'm joined as always by
Amy Bathard, the Partnerships Manager for Omaha Public Library. I'm over winter. Done.
Yes.
Let's exit.
We've talked about this. I'm over winter 7 days in, which is entirely too early to be emotionally over a season.
Know. The thing is like I'm fine with it. And then once the chill sets into my bones, and I do believe that happens, I feel like I can't get warm again until spring comes.
Okay.
So there you go.
I feel that. Yeah. I think I've described this on the podcast previously, that my hot dog, frozen hot dog analogy, that I am the hot dog.
Now I want a hot dog.
So if you ever take a frozen hot dog and you tossed it into a pot of boiling water, this is what happens when people tell me like, well, winter's better because you can just keep putting on layers. And in the summertime, you can only take so much off. And be like, first of all, you're making a lot of assumptions about how much I'm willing to take off. Second of all, I am cold and there's nothing worse than just continuously putting on layers and never getting warm. Now I'm overstimulated and annoying. So my analogy is a frozen hot dog. If you take a frozen rock solid hot dog and you put it in a pot of boiling water for like a couple seconds.
It's an unhappy hot dog.
Well, you pull it out. Yeah, that outside, sure, toasty, hot. No. It's like, oh yeah, you could feel that it's got hot.
Frozen inside.
But if you squeezed it, there's a frozen core still inside. I am that hot dog.
So we're hot dogs.
I am a hot dog. Like we might get the top layer warmed up, but that frozen core,
I know,
that's going to stick around until, honest to God, like
you've heard it here. We're hot dogs.
You're listening to Hot Dog Talk on The Book Drop.
I love it.
Do you like a Costco hot dog? I don't mean to turn this into a whole Costco hot dog thing.
Of course. It's inexpensive and it's delicious.
That's what
it's very like, it's plain, it's easy.
Yes. It's great.
It's got the basics.
It's always $1.50.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Love a hot dog from Costco.
My 2-year-old frequently wakes up in the morning when I say, what do you want for breakfast? She says a hot dog. And I'm like, I don't think we're going to do that right now. But what I do want to find out is how early does Costco have those hot dogs fired up? Because if I show up at 9 a.m.
Somebody please tell us.
Will they have a hot dog ready for me?
They might. Hot dogs for breakfast.
Maybe this is how I started eating hot dogs for breakfast.
I know.
Anything's possible. In 2026.
It sure is.
Speaking of which, I feel like we need like a little check-in moment before we get to our theme of our episode this week. I wanted to check in with you about your tarot practice.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know at the beginning of the month, it was supposed to be you go outside, you look for the omens. Yeah. And then also you've been drawing one per day.
One per day.
Tell me about how that's going.
It is going well. So soon I will be, because we're recording this before February, so I haven't gone outside or figured out what my omen is. I'm very curious about that. I just thought about that today. So this is very timely. The tarot practice every day is doing well. I've been pulling a single card every day for almost 3 years. Over 3 years.
Do you have to do it right away, or could you do it when you get into work?
No, it is my ritual in the morning. I get up, I go downstairs.
Wait until you get to work and I'm here and I can be like, pull it.
You know what? I could bring I have a couple decks. Maybe you'll pull one and then I could start kind of having conversation with you about your single pulls.
I would love that.
Okay, let's do that.
We could, because this is one of those things, I'm not necessarily like super bought into the culture, but I do love the idea of pulling something and then being like,
I know.
Where do I see it around me? Is it?
I know. It's so interesting. So I would say now, because there are so many cards, there's 78 cards in a regular deck. I have some extra lunar moon cards along with my deck. So I'm learning what those attributes and meanings are with that extra cards in that deck. But I will say it is, when I pull a card now, I don't feel like I'm completely, I consult the books every single day. I have 3 books that I consult. But when I'm like that, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what you mean. So it is more intuitive for me. It's the meanings and like how it frames my day is more, it's coming easier for me. It's So I love that part of it. I'm also just started following a Substack called the Tarot Lab. Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
Like it's like a deep dive into a single card. So I'm following that.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's going well. Thanks for asking.
Good.
Now I am going to bring my deck and we're going to do some pulls for you.
I'm excited and terrified.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Yay. I'm so excited today about our episode because it's we did this last year.
And it was so fun.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have good partners.
I know.
For this one.
So we had first Sky Omaha take over again.
In last year's, I believe, we recorded our little intro and then they recorded their piece and then we were able to kind of like give our thoughts on it. But this year they recorded before we did this. So this was kind of fun that we were, I always feel like it's not disingenuous, but it's part of like that editing magic. Sometimes we make an episode
engineering.
where we say like, I wonder what will happen.
I know.
Okay, pause.
Wow.
Wow.
Exactly.
And it's kind of one of those things because we got to like already read it. So I'm really excited to hear your thoughts about what they said. So I think should we just cut straight to our friends at First Sky Omaha?
Yeah, let's do it. Paul B. Allen and Buddi3 Da Gawd. So excited that they were willing to take over the podcast again, and we're thrilled about it.
Take it away, fellas.
Hey, welcome. What's happening? This is the Takeover. It's going down.
Takeover.
The book drop. My name is Paul B. He's Buddi3 Da Gawd.
Paul B.
And we are from First Sky Omaha in the morning.
Yep.
So it's a podcast live stream that we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's kind of a neighborhood association, kind of a digital neighborhood association discussion about
type
news
things
and affairs and things that go down in our community.
Yep.
And it's also kind of turned into a civics lesson, hasn't it?
Yeah, man. Very organically become a civics lesson. Shout out to all of our elected officials and leaders out there that, take the time out of their busy schedules to come and speak to us. Let us know a little bit of what's going on. And all of you, that chime in to the chat, listen. Yeah, we thank you. It's definitely a conversation that has taken a life of its own. But as we always say, conversation rules the nation.
That's right. That's how it starts.
Yeah, man.
And man. So we're here doing this takeover again. I'm so happy that we get to do this again. I had so much fun doing it last year. That was real cool.
Man, I can't believe it's been a year already. Like, doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out. Can't wait to find out what you've been reading. So that's the highlight of this. Get the books out. So it's time to do this. Time to do the thing. So yeah, man. Let's jump in, bro. Shout out to the library. Just having us back is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean the library's been pretty active. Kind of jealous. You actually got the chance to see a little bit of what they've been doing firsthand. But since we did this last year, definitely have been in close partnership and working with the library, actually helping to get some artists involved in their new facility. So definitely shout out to all of our artists out there that will be having their work showcased at the new facility on 72nd and Dodge. Paul, again, you got the pleasure of kind of getting a glimpse, getting in the inside. Very groundbreaking stuff what the library is doing.
Yeah, man.
We'll talk about that a little bit.
It's just the most. It's just the coolest thing. I really feel like Omaha Public Library is going to be setting the precedent for the rest of the country on how to step into the future with the libraries, not just in the design and architecture, but in the facility inside, man, do space that's inside there, podcast studios, so many things that is the future now. It's happening right now and it's going down. So, I'm just really happy that this is happening in Omaha first, all the branches, but that 72nd branch looks like something out of Star Trek, man. It's cool. Super cool. I can't wait for you to come out here and see it for sure.
One of the big things for us at First Sky is a belief that Omaha is kind of a microcosm. Omaha really kind of reflects a lot of what's going on across the nation. And we're definitely seeing a big push for literacy. Big shout out to those who are, reading, staying active in reading. I do want to give a shout out to our Omaha local sister who's pushing it on a national level. Actually, later on this year, I believe in March, Sister Clarice Jackson with Black Literacy Matters will be having a literacy conference in Virginia. You can check her out at blackliteracymatters.com. I do believe there's tickets available, or, and this, she's not paying me to do this, but this is, again, a takeover of Black History Month and literacy, and especially Black communities. When you talk about the history is important, man. It's important, and you don't have to pay me to push that because it's something that we all need to get involved in, and reading more and more. When you look at the history, again, we were persecuted, prevented from reading. So having the freedom to read now and not doing so, it's just madness. It's just madness.
So true. So true. We had a discussion with the mayor on our show the other day, too. We have a new segment called Monthly Meetup with the Mayor.
Hey.
And I just remember his speech that he gave at the day that we were over there at the library opening, and just, the vibe that was happening there, and just understanding that we got a mayor that really feels like it's important, that literacy matters. He's the one that appointed Clarice. So yeah, Ms. Jackson. So it was really something else to understand that we were now in a situation where we want to show the rest of the U.S. basically how it should be done here as far as literacy is concerned, how the library system is concerned, and so on and so forth. So just did not expect to be around such a revolutionary situation with the library. Man. In Omaha, Nebraska, of all places. So I think it's like you said, a microcosm of what should be going on in the rest of the country at the very least. And super cool, man, super cool. Yeah. So we're all about it. We told you last time we took this over that we're a couple of readers. We grew up on that reading rainbow, Sesame Street. Yeah, man. So all about it, just all about it. Spent a lot of time hanging out in libraries in particular. Same for you, buddy. Is that how you kind of grew up as well?
Oh, yeah. You can ask Mama God. Again, had a very, very early introduction to libraries. Even before I, went to go get my own library card, I had a library at home. Again, Dr. Seuss books and poetry books. And again, it's something that has been foundational to how I was raised. And I continue that. My children, all three of them, have their library books and cards now. So, again, it's a resource that we will continue to big up and make a part of our lives. And actually, Paul, I know we have some list of books, and as we transition into the discussion for today, I know one of the books that you have is close to home, part of the family. Again, family writing. Have some published authors in your family. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's jump into my reading list right now. Stuff that I got on my nightstand, as a matter of fact. By the way, I had to decide that I was going to make it a habit again to read a chapter a night in everything that I'm reading, and all the books that I'm reading at the same time, right before bed. And that seems to be the best time for me to set aside some time to read. It's been working. It's been working. So yeah, I was looking at the list of things that they have on the list for Black History. Of course, we're doing this for Black History Month. Yep. We got to acknowledge that as well. Black History is kind of all year for us. So sometimes I forget that we also are doing this during the month of Black History. If it's still a thing in this administration, we'll see. Yeah. But yeah, so they have a list. The library has a list of books that they suggested that people check out. I hadn't seen anything on that list, and I didn't get a chance to read anything on that list. It's because I'm kind of heavily into the books that I'm into right now. So I'll kind of go through those, and we can, definitely start with the family's books. I happen to have some family members that are authors, and I said, you know what, it's crazy. They're family members. They've told me about the books, but I haven't read through the books, so I probably should do that. Yeah. So the first one is my pops, Paul B. Allen III, is an author, and he wrote a book called Saturday Morning Chronicles. And this is kind of a memoir of his. He's a musician. He's been singing for many, many years. He's a songwriter. He sang with the Platters for a lot of years, and he's got some wisdom about what's going on, especially like some Motown wisdom, which I wasn't even realizing myself, like how much. I learned a lot from reading his book about his life and his life with other musicians and people that he worked with throughout the years that are connected to some major, major hits in our country. So it was really interesting. It's a memoir in the form of short vignettes about musicians that he's worked with and the music that's inspired him. It's full of insider info as well, so you can learn a lot of stuff that you won't hear from anybody else because he was personally involved with those musicians, which I think is really cool. And also, the book that he wrote before that was called From Karaoke to the Platters. So his journey from how he started singing and then how he got into the group The Platters and traveled all around the world. That is actually in the Omaha Public Library. thanks to our friend Amy Mather. And so after me reading this Saturday Morning Chronicles, I thought this one will be a great one to add next. So I'll be making some phone calls to see about that. So so that's one of them that I'm reading right now from the family, and the other one is from a cousin of ours out here in Omaha, Nebraska. It's called The Deuce. And she wrote a book. Basically, it's a memoir of hers as well, of memories of things that have gone on in the Deuce. For those of you who don't know, the Deuce is the 24th and Lake Street area of Omaha. It's considered the black community. It was considered kind of the black Mecca, the black Wall Street of Omaha for many, many years. And she comes from that time frame. She wanted to reminisce about the 50s through the 80s when every building was full of businesses and clubs, and it was a thriving city until there was some uprising and some things happened, and they kind of just defunded it and left it for dead. And we're in a renaissance right now, which is really interesting to me to be reading what I'm reading about the past, because right now there's a renaissance for the 24th and Lake Street area, the Deuce, and we're happy to be a part of that too, trying to rebuild this whole scene. And it's really people like her, like my cousin Patricia. She is seeing what's going on now and saying, "Hey, I'm seeing it. Maybe it's coming back like the old days." So it's interesting to read this. It's kind of her take on back in the day. You kind of going through her memory about stuff that's gone on. It's got to be one of the most comprehensive books on list of businesses that align the streets of 24th and Lake, clubs from an era when the Deuce was thriving. So yeah, just firsthand stories about all the fun that he used to have there, but also the tragedies, also the things that happened. The murder of Vivian Strong back in the day that started one of the riots that burned a lot of the streets around that area, and from a person who knew her and was that age when it happened, and is reminiscent from a firsthand experience. Very interesting stuff that she wrote about this area, and if you want to know anything about North Omaha, the black community of North Omaha, and what it was in the past and why it's so important to us now, I highly suggest you check out The Deuce. Man. So yeah, man. So luckily I got a couple of members of the family that are still educating me in my old and age.
Not just you, man. Not just you. Yeah, actually, over the summer, had the opportunity, went to a family member's house, and lo and behold, your cousin's book was right there on the coffee table. So as I'm looking through it, like, hey, this is my friend, this is his family's book. Turns out that my family has some stories and has some excerpts and are part of a few of the stories in that book. So
nice.
Again, it is very, very nice to continue to learn about who we are and where we come from in this community, and to be able to continue to keep that story going, to be a part of that story, as you mentioned, not just looking at the past, but also looking at the present and looking into the future. So beautiful, beautiful thing, and big shout out. To the Omaha Public Library for again hosting some of your family's books, and hopefully we can get those other ones in rotation. Let's get it going.
Shout out to Patricia Allen. Shout out to Pops. Appreciate that. Hey, before we get into the rest of the books that I'm checking out, that I'm into right now too, I kind of I'm anxious to hear about what you got going on, because I know you're always reading something interesting and got me. I've been waiting for the past few days. I can't wait to hear what he's reading. What you got on.
Really?
Yeah. What's going on with you?
Again, maybe as over the last year or so, personally, you have learned about me. I'm a history buff, big history buff.
Yeah.
And I'm actually finding myself, which I'll be talking about a little later on, with my discoveries from the Omaha Public Library. And shout out to the genealogy team and the team of the archives with the Omaha Library. History documents, not necessarily so much narratives or self-help books. Like I have, been working through the E-Myth book. Thank you for that gift, by the way. But finding myself looking more into historic documents, looking more into, the Constitution and trying to really understand, what's going on, and coupling that with the current events that are going on. To be honest, we're kind of seeing the dismantling of America, American society, American history is being rewritten. And it is interesting to look back, to see at some of the stories that have been forgotten, some of the stories that have still yet to be told. And that's kind of where I find myself. We were working on a project earlier this year the Lanes of Change Project. Shout out to those who have checked it out. If you haven't already, you can check us out on YouTube at First Sky Omaha, Lanes of Change. But I found myself looking through a few other like National Library archives and just going through some of the, just footage that they have. And it's millions and millions of footage of the internet, archive.com. And there's so many resources out there that have, so much just information and historical things that really kind of help put things in perspective, if you will, and just to learn so much more. Again, especially in this era of AI, it's interesting to look, where are the resources? Where are your sources? So big shout out to all the libraries out there that are holding the integrity, holding the line, and collecting. Just collecting, because as we know, libraries and collections and resources are falling by the day, especially with this administration. So,
and I got to mention too, luckily there's physical copies that's available too. Shout out to the library for keeping physical copies of things. This new library that we have on 72nd has an archive with a robotic arm that goes up and down and grabs stuff. And man, I'm trying to tell you, but it just really impressed on me, how much we need to also have an archive of physical properties as well. In this age of AI and fake news and fake information that can easily be tweaked in the digital realm, it's so great to be able to go crack open a book and find out what's happening for real.
Man, or touch that microfilm. Again, looking at those old newspapers. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's hard to fake that news.
That's what's up. Yeah, I can't wait to see some of the stuff that you dig out. I know that you reminded me about, like, when we are on the show, the reason why I kind of choose what I read at night is because I kind of need a break from the stuff that we are always digging into for the show, which is what you're talking about too. Just really trying to understand our times, keep up on news that's happening, that's going on daily. That is, and what the context of that news is, the history. This is, knowing that things are repeating in the way that they have, and everything else that you got to learn from kind of digging in and just understanding the context, which is a major part of what we do. It's not just news dissemination on our show. We're actually trying to put things in context to show, how they are attached to the past and find solutions for the future on those things. So I appreciate that you still dig through those things on your spare time. I gotta escape a little bit on mine because we do that so much. We do that so much. I'm like, man, I can't take another article on this craziness. But it is really interesting to understand the historical context and stuff and realize that this has all happened before. Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't know, man. It might be a thing, man. Because when we get done with the morning show, I might catch 2-3 more hours of news. Like, I might go watch Democracy Now! For a couple hours, so I'm definitely always soaking it in. But yeah, it helps. It helps to make make a sense of everything. But at the same time, you do need those narratives and a few of those other types of stories and poems and things to movies, books, music to help escape some of that, or at least get a break from it as well. So it's all about balance.
Cool. You want me to move on to another book, or are you still going?
No, yeah, we can keep it going. I know you have a few other selections. What do you got?
Yeah, man, I got a couple of selections. Another thing that I'm reading, it's funny, my reading list is a couple of family members and a really close friend. So a really close friend, Arinda Fink, she wrote a book called The Witch's Daughter. I'm reading that again as well. It's really interesting to read the memoirs of your friends, because you think you know your friends, but then they write something and you're hearing their life from their voice. The first time that she let me read the first draft of the manuscript, I was like floored. I was just like, we all should be writing memoirs so our friends can know us very, very well, because I had no idea. You think you know somebody well, and then you hear from their voice what they're from inside of them, how they feel about some of the things that's happened that's happened. And it's just a different thing. So anyway, that's besides the point. Her book's called The Witch's Daughter. It's a memoir about growing up with an abusive mother who insisted that they are both magic. So she grew up in this kind of magic, realistic realm that she didn't know what was real, what was not real. And then her mother kind of has like a borderline personality disorder that made it really tough for her to grow up. So she really is a great writer. I'm amazed at the way that she's a musician. She's a pop star, really, and and so knowing that she also has these writing skills is just incredible. But she really broke these things down in this kind of this journey of her to get to this healed version of herself, which is what we're all trying to do. So it's just really interesting to read from her perspective and understand some of the context of the stories that I already knew about her just because we're friends. Really great book, and I think everybody should be checking it out. It is one at the Omaha Public Library that you can get. The audio version with her reading it too is available. So I kind of have been digging back into that one as well to read the latest of that. I've read 2 versions of it already, and this is the finished version that I'm finally getting to read. Man. It's out of sight. So I'm all about it. Those are my 3 that I'm kind of reading at the end of the night: Witch's Daughter, Saturday Morning Chronicles, and The Deuce. And then I'm also reading a couple more books. I'm part of the Omaha Reads Selection Committee this year. And in this set of books that we had to choose from this time, not a whole lot on the subject of Black culture, except for one. This book called James by Percival Everett is on the list, and it seems a lot of people who are on this committee have already read it and loved it, and it didn't need to be we didn't need to cover that because it's already been covered, but everybody else is deciding to read it too because they're saying it's that good. I actually got it a few months before I got on the committee. My friend Beth Benjamin Alvarado sent it to me as a present, so it's been sitting on my counter anyway. But James by Percival Everett, it's a retelling of the Huckleberry Finn book. And it's told from the viewpoint of Jim the slave. So I just started it. I'm ready to get into it. I'm kind of like, everybody's saying it's great. That's quite the premise. To do that, I'm always talking about my favorite writer, Toni Morrison, and how she writes from the point of view of Black folks. She does not write for thinking that her audience is white America. Her audience is Black America. She writes Black books for Black people from their perspective, and so that's why I'm super interested in this James book. One of the reasons why. So looking forward to digging into it. I appreciate Beth Benjamin Alvarado giving it to me as a gift. Can't wait to dig in. But that is on that list. And the other one I'm reading on that list is called The Swimmers by Julie Otsuka, and that's a pretty interesting one too. It's kind of I'm kind of going through some things with my family now. People who are getting older and having Alzheimer's come upon them, and there's and this book is kind of about that. I'm understanding a little bit about one of the characters who is slowly declining in their cognitive abilities there, and some things are coming back. Japanese Americans that are this Japanese American woman who's kind of losing it, and all the thoughts about her being in those concentration camps that we had here in America early in life is starting to come back, which is also super interesting because of the times that we're in. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. It's it's a group of people who go to this public swimming pool. When a crack appears at the bottom of the pool, things start cracking in their relationships. Basically, one of the swimmers, the one I was talking about, her name is Alice. She's slowly losing her memory, and that pool is kind of like that swim time was her final kind of just hanging on to things, But now that she's like disassociating and things are getting chaotic, her memories of childhood of the Japanese American in concentration camps are coming back. So, so it's really interesting, and it's a family. She's also, because she has a strange relationship with her daughter, and it's pretty deep. So I'm glad that I chose that one. It seems to be pretty interesting and very relevant for what's happening today as well. And it's something that all of our cultures are having to deal with. Black culture included. We never really got a lot of help when it came to people in our family that were slipping into Alzheimer's and these other things, man. We kind of keep our elderly at home with us, so we have all really kind of dealt with that phenomenon. So it's interesting to hear other cultures having to deal with it, how they are expressing it as well. So The Swimmers, Julie Otsuka, definitely check that out.
Yeah, that's a heavy one, man. Actually, my grandma had passed several years ago, and she dealt with Alzheimer's in the later stages of her life. And my father was actually her caregiver. So, to kind of see the swimming, what a very, very powerful analogy. Man, That's powerful. That's powerful. Great selections. I am kind of curious. Please do tell them a little bit more about this selection committee that you're talking about, that you're a part of. For those who don't know, what does this entail?
Yeah, every year, Omaha Public Library, they put a list of books together, like a selection of books that they suggest. They use members of the community to get together and kind of read through them and then make suggestions. And we all kind of get together and say, hey, this was good, or hey, this one might not be great for public consumption. And then kind of make some determinations of how we build this list out. And then the list gets built, and then they promote that and put that out and encourage everybody in the city to read what's on the chosen list. So it's always been some very, very good stuff, very diverse stuff that's been on it. I've done it. This is my second year doing it, and I'm pretty happy with the selections. I was happy with the selections last year. I'm happy that some of the ones that didn't get picked last year kind of came back this year for us to review again. And it's just a cool thing to really kind of get me back reading some newer stuff and older stuff, making some decisions and choices on that, and just kind of thinking about how we can make the suggestions on what people should be reading. I'm looking forward to that kind of common denominator again. If we're all reading the same thing, we can all kind of have some discussion about things and understand things at the same time. Right. So I love the fact that they're putting this kind of curated list together for people that are into it to get together and do it. It's kind of like a public book club almost. Yep.
Yeah, man. So again, big shout out to the Omaha Public Library. One of the many ways that we align, one of the many ways that we work together, and are happy to be partners again with the Omaha Public Library. So again, big shout out to everybody that's listening right now. For those who don't know, you are in the middle of the first Sky Omaha Public Library Takeover book drop podcast. Again, this is for the Black History Month edition. So again, shout out to the whole staff, man, the whole team for inviting us and helping us with this. I don't know. Is that all your selections? Is it my turn to jump into what I've dived into?
Yeah, man. I got some more. But I want to hog the whole show. You know me. I can talk over everybody the whole show. So yeah, look, what else you got going on? I'm anxious to hear about it.
Yeah, again, as I mentioned earlier, I took a different approach this year to the book drop. Not necessarily picking or going through a selection or a list of books. But more so looking through the archives. So again, big shout out to our producer for this podcast, Margie, and also the genealogy and local history librarians team at the Omaha Public Library for pulling a few of links to their archives and giving me access to a few of the archives that they have. And again, as I mentioned, the reason this kind of piqued my interest this year was some of the things that we're seeing going on, not just, of course, ICE and just the whole question of, what it is and what it means and what it looks like to be an American, but also just the education department, some of the closures and disruptions that we've seen this year in that. And again, the library being one of the last bastions of hope, one of the last stewards of real documentation, real literature. Definitely wanted to echo and really lean into that this year. So I wanted to start actually with telling a little bit of the North Omaha story. Again, one of the interesting part also is the fact that a lot of these stories, a lot of the information that you can find, a lot of times are stories that have not been told, stories that are forgotten, or stories that, again, just haven't really made it past the photographs and the initial articles that you can find in the archive. So again, one of those collections, the Charles B. Washington collection, which you can find online, is a collection of photos of Charles B. Washington, who is the namesake of the North Omaha Library located on 30th and Ames. And actually, there's a couple of photos that I picked from this collection, one of which is hits close to home to you, Paul, which is quite interesting that you pulled some stories from your family. One is a picture of Charles B. Washington and Louis Armstrong sitting at the ballroom. So again, we talk a lot about the history of the ballroom, and you and I are music buffs, so we talk about the history and fan over it all the time. But to actually see the legend Louis Armstrong in Omaha with another legend, Charles B. Washington, and to see it, as I say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, possibly more, is very powerful, very, very powerful.
Nice,
yeah, man. So again, there's that. Also, one is that kind of piqued my interest is one that's actually a photo of Charles B. Washington and a young woman holding a protest sign And what really piqued my interest is the historical notes that come with the photos. That again kind of give a glimpse into the story. In February 1968, the Lake Charles organization sponsored a boycott and march to protest against stores along North 24th Street in Omaha, Nebraska, that had kept their windows boarded up since the 1966 riot. So again, reading between the lines, that's 2 years that these stores held their boarded their windows up, and can imagine some of the tensions between the store owners and the community members. But again, this is one example of stories that haven't really been told. Again, we hear a lot about the riots and some of the tensions in the 60s in North Omaha following the murder of Vivian Strong. But you don't really hear much about the protest and the actual activity and what was really going on the streets. So photos like this really, really open up the books of history, if you will.
Wow, man, that is really interesting. That is great. So tell me again how you come across this information. So again, like if I wanted to go find this stuff myself, what did you have to go look up to find that stuff out?
So again, our producer sent a few links, but all of this is available on the Omaha Public Library website. Anybody, regardless if you have a library card or not, can research this information. And again, it's not just history. It goes back pretty far. Actually, there's another collection that piqued my interest on this, which was the Indian Congress situation. Again, there's an Indian Congress in the late 1890s in Nebraska. And actually, simultaneously, there was an international conference happening around the same time. But the Indian Congress collection is a collection of photographs from the Indian Congress. Consists of photographs that the official photographer of the Trans-Mississippian International Exposition, Frank Reinhardt, and his assistants, Adolph Murr, made of individual tribe members, their temporary lodgings, and the various scheduled events of the Congress. It was James Mooney, a Bureau of Ethnology ethnographer, who designed what was essentially a living exhibit of Native Americans, and it was he who contracted with Frank Reinhardt to photograph the Indian delegates during the last week of the Congress. Again, if you're a frequent watcher of First Sky Omaha, we often, actually every show, give honor to our brothers and sisters of the Omaha tribe. Of course, we shout out to Brother Wells LaVales, frequently getting updates and having conversations about what's going on some of the reservations, and constantly remembering our Native brothers and sisters. And again, in connection to light what's happening in current events with some of the Ogallala Sioux tribe brothers and sisters being wrapped up in these ICE raids. Again, telling the history of who the real Americans were, who the true Americans were, and what was really happening during the turn of some of these centuries. Again, it really puts things in, as we like to say, context.
Interesting. I'll definitely be digging into the website then. I hadn't even thought of really like what's on the Omaha Public Library website.
Resource.
Yeah. Good source. We'll definitely have to check that out, man. That's interesting.
Yeah, man. And then also simultaneously during this Indian Congress, there was also the International Exposition, which is something that was always interested in me. I went to King Magnet Center, which is like on 16th or 20th, right off of like 20th in Ohio, if you will. It's a middle school, but in that area, it was where the International Expo happened during the late 1890s. And there's always like these grand, plaques of these grand buildings. And if you know anything about the International Expos, they were very, very grand conferences. I mean, they had, buildings that were put up to represent other areas, and there were shops and businesses and stores. And, you think of these mega conferences in a time where there's no internet. I don't know, even if there's phones at this time. I talk about the late 1800s. So for something like that to happen in Nebraska is also a glimpse into the past. But again, as a history buff, those types of things also, help you really realize how connected the world was, and how the exchange of goods and ideas and, unfortunately, sometimes humans happen during this. But again, the human story is something that continues to unfold. We have, I believe, still not heard the half of that story. And again, big shout out to the Omaha Library, especially in this time of Black History Month, learning where we came from and where we're going.
Love that. I got a book on that expo. So
Really?
Yeah. You definitely need. I'll let you borrow that. You got to read that one.
Man,
very interesting stuff. Connected to the World's Fair, and I have an artist friend in Omaha named Allegra that did an art piece where she showed some of the materials that they used to do that World Expo stuff, and how fragile and how it was really smoke and mirrors and cardboard and plaster. Because they knew they were going to tear it down. It looks like something opulent, like the World's Fair, like the White House almost. Some of the architecture, but it was really made with throwaway materials. But it did bring a lot of people to the area. So that's another one, man. You definitely need to check that book out, because that's always fascinated me too. I'd love to do something like that again. We need to have like a World's Fair again type of thing.
Really.
That'd be dope.
It'll be beautiful. We need the exchange of culture and ideas, and just a symbiotic relationship like that between nations and culture. That would be ideal, especially in the direction we're going. But yeah, that is very interesting, because you do see these photos, and even again in the library's collection, there's you do see some of the paintings and some of the, like, where did all these buildings go? Where did these grand fountains and some of these things that they had go? But as you mentioned, it came and went. Put it up and tore it down, man. But again, all of these things, as I'm continuously learning, are giving us stories that have not been told. And I think that's the biggest thing for me with this, is, pushing the fact that the half of the story has not been told about what really has happened in this American saga and where we really are. And again, you mentioned earlier with the Toni Morrison and not allowing the master narrative to dominate. There's so many other stories, so many other voices that have not been acknowledged, that have not been flourishing. And again, only a glimpse of that are provided with the library's collection. So again, big shout out to those librarians still holding the line, especially in this time of fake news and AI and just not knowing who to believe in the information wars. So big shout out.
And not to mention the destruction of books that they're trying to, they're trying to get rid of this history. They're trying to get rid of those books. So it's turned into a battle. It's turned into a little bit of a war on that front, where we're in that era. You gotta kind of put your books in the safe with the other valuables these days, so that you don't they don't burn you out.
Man. So here we are.
Yeah. I like picking it up right where you left off. I would say, if we were going to pick it up right there, thinking about the history piece, there's some other entries that I wanted to talk about too, because Omaha Public Library is not just about the books. They have this whole website called Canopy.
Yes,
that is basically like the Netflix of the library. Man. And I gotta say something about, first of all, if I'm also a film buff, big time. I've traveled the world to study film, and they're the only channel that I can go to that has the kinds of films that I was educated on is the Criterion Collection, Criterion Channel. And Canopy is not just rivaling Criterion. I really feel like they're kind of beating them. There's some stuff. Yeah. Criterion Collection will have stuff on their channel, and then they'll take it away. Yeah. And then I'll find it on Canopy. That's just in their state. Yeah. So Canopy is great. I have a lot in my box ready to watch there. I did check out something in anticipation of Black History Month as well. Something that I've always heard about and learned about, which was the Great Migration. Hey. So for those who don't know what that is, a lot of Black folks that came in as slaves and had to work in the South. At one point, they were freed after the Civil War, and they started to get these messages from places that they called the North about promises of jobs and prosperity and freedom, and a lot of them were really anxious to go and take part in that. It also had to do with the fact that since they were free now after the Civil War, that's when really the white backlash started happening in a big way. There was more lynchings, more attacks, more things that happened because they couldn't stand them being free and not working for them. Yep. So not only was the promise of the North something that they wanted to engage in, but also to flee the messed up Jim Crow situation that they were in after they were freed. So a lot of them packed up and moved, and it was a very interesting phenomenon. And of course, my family was also from the South and moved and ended up in Omaha and ended up in Nebraska by way of Chicago and some other places. So everybody who is in Omaha mostly have if they have any history here, if they've been back generations, their family was part of that great migration, hearing about those jobs, the packing houses and places like that, and coming up here and working. We all have that in our history. Packing houses, like you say, the packing houses and the railroads. So that's all I've known about it. On Canopy, there is a series of films called Great Migrations, plural. This is hosted by Henry Louis Gates Jr. So you already know about him.
Okay.
Yeah, man. And we're learning not just about the great migration of black folks coming from the South and moving north, but we're also hearing about other migrations, like the second great migration that happened closer to the 50s and the 40s and the 50s, where millions of people moved north. And that's when things really started jumping in New York and all these other places as far as black culture was concerned, things happening there. So that was interesting. And then they talked about the migration of white people out of this inner cities. White flight is also considered a migration. They migrated out of the city when black folks started showing up. And that's another part of the migration story. And then they talked about the migration of more recently, the migration of black people back to the South, which is super interesting. They feel like a lot of them felt like they were in places in, I was listening to on the show, they talked about Gladys Knight and the Pips song, Midnight Train to Georgia. And they broke that down. And that's one of the only songs they talked about. This brother went out to L.A. It was too tough for him. He couldn't make it. He was missing home. He was like, that's it. I'm out of here. Get on the midnight train back to Georgia, back home, which is what a lot of people, so quote unquote, black people feel like is their home because of the fact that that's where they were for so many generations. And there was a big movement of black folks going back and reclaiming the South. Hence where you're at, Atlanta.
Yeah, man.
And they told the story about how Atlanta became the powerhouse that it did because of that. Education being a lot of the key. So the Great Migration back to the South was super interesting. And then the last episode was talking about the migration of other black folks from other parts of the diaspora, other parts of the world that migrated to America. Because since the 1900s, there was millions of people of African descent, Haitian descent, from the Caribbean that migrated to America that we don't even talk about when we talk about the Great Migration. So, and they really redefined what it means to be black in this country because of the fact that there were so many of them that came over Ellis Island, just like everybody else, for the same reason, So you always hear about black folks coming over here as slaves, as if that's the only way we got here. First of all, we were here before that,
right.
If you want to get in that conversation.
Right.
And second of all, black folks who have come from other places to migrate over, just like every other immigrant comes over for prosperity and other reasons. Since then, it's been millions of people that have wound up here too, on purpose. So our story as black folks in this country isn't just we all came over here as slaves. Just not the story. So understanding these different kinds of migrations has been really interesting to watch. And Buddi, they got a whole section on how Outkast made some moves on putting the South back on the map. And on that episode when they talk about the migration back home, man, Andre and them was the mouthpiece for that. So you got to check it out. Super interesting. And the very last episode too talks about when I said, a lot of Africans and people from the Caribbean came over. So they're talking about the Jamaicans that came over. So they're talking about Kool Herc. They're talking about the beginning of hip hop.
Exactly.
They're talking about how hip hop has shaped the country.
Exactly.
All because of these migrations. Super interesting documentary. You definitely got to check it out. It's called Great Migrations with an S.
Man.
On Canopy.
Yeah, man.
Check it out.
Yeah, man. Definitely. I'm glad you chose that to kind of, cap it off. I think that's a great selection and really kind of ties in everything. As I was paying attention as we were talking, it is funny that, between the historical, documents and photographs and content that I selected and some of the historical stories that you selected, or whether, be the stories of your father and his musical career, or, Cousin Pat and the stories of the Deuce. It's all telling the human story. And I think that's one of the biggest things that all of this is really about. And, even tying it into Black History Month, and why we make these tongue-in-cheek comments about, Black history is every day, and, it's a month, because it really is. By saying Black History Month is almost separating us, and our history, our story is a part of human history, and looking at that and really reading that story for what it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So again, big shout out.
And not to mention, our story is American history as well. So
yes,
you want to talk about American history, that's what it is. And we got to talk about it. And also, here's the thing that I want people to remember about Black History Month too. Black History Month is for white people. We live our history every day. That's why we always come back and say, Black history is all year for us. This is the day designated. This is a month designated for white folks and other folks to learn about our history that we already engage in on a daily basis. Yep. So I don't mind at all to say, hey, ask me, what suggestions do you have to people who need to know, need to check it out. Now, of course, in our community, it's always good to reaffirm and reimagine, and also re-encourage everybody to go through it again, and you always learn something new every time you go through any kind of history. So it's great to be reminded, but really this month is really for people who have not been concentrating on Black history all year long, to take the month to do that. Man. So I hope that you take those suggestions to heart. And check out a few things, because it's a rich history in a big way.
There you go. I'm
going to talk about some cultural places in Omaha, especially, that I think is very culturally significant and encourages the kind of knowledge gathering that we try to talk about and we try to do all the time. So let's think a little bit while I name these. I want you to see if you can figure out one to name as well. Cultural places in Omaha. First and foremost, you already know where I'm going with this. Afro-American Bookstore.
Yes.
is one of the most culturally significant places in the Midwest, as far as we're concerned. If you don't know about the Afro-American Bookstore, you absolutely should go check it out. It's on Lake Street in North Omaha, right before you get to about 30th. And it's been a staple for a while. There's been the owner, Marshall Taylor, who has now passed away, has been a mentor and a legend, and he's been the one that's built this whole thing. Him and his wife, Jeanette Taylor, who's there now. Jeanette Taylor is still there. And just as a Black bookstore in general, they're in such decline in the country that we can literally probably count how many Black bookstores there are left.
Yep. A
lot of the books that me and Buddy choose when we do these takeovers, some of that comes from there, because they're not quite in the library yet, but luckily, we have a great team at the Omaha Public Library that always listens to those suggestions and says, "Hey, okay, well, what do we need to get in there?" And they work on that. So we're lucky to have a team of librarians and administrators at the Omaha Public Library that will take those things into consideration. But that's kind of where we get a lot of the books that we dive into as well. And it's not just a bookstore; it's a place where the culture gathers, and it's a place where Buddy was holding classes there when I met him.
Yes.
We were in the back room learning things and hearing from the elders, and it's just a cultural icon of a place. And I hope to do some work highlighting that this year. Afro-American Bookstore that's still going on strong right now here in North Omaha. One of my favorites.
Hey, okay.
Also, I'm gonna say Culture House. I'm gonna leave Culture House for you, because I know you're probably gonna talk about Culture House a little bit. But I will say for cultural places that are very significant, and this is one that I don't know if a lot of people think about, but our barbershops and beauty shops, in the Black community, are absolutely, positively some of the most important cultural places that we have had in the Black community over years. I was just taking my nephew to get his hair cut and was looking over at their section of children's books. Every so often, man, groups of people get together and they say, "Hey, let's have some reading initiatives, and let's utilize the beauty shops and barbershops to do that." And everyone you go to pretty much has a little kids section of books that they, that especially young Black kids can check out and read and see themselves in. And I think it's awesome how they are on that. They spread that. It's easy to be at the barbershop and just chop it up and have a good time, but you see that as cultural hubs as well. A lot of discussion happens at the barbershops and beauty salons. A lot of political conversations happen there. A lot of back in the day, the barbershops and the beauty salons were places where you can go get a loan to get your business started. Man. Those brothers were making money in the community, and they were funding people starting small businesses, and also heavily on the education. If you ever seen the movie Barbershop with Cedric the Entertainer and all those guys, they had a fund there for somebody to go to college. I forgot what the plot was, but that's kind of indicative. They always had they always encouraged the young people in the neighborhood to go make it, to buy them some shoes for that job interview, or get them some sneakers because they're a great ball player in the community. It's just been a hub where you go find out what's happening. Mm-hmm. You get your information there, and you get encouraged to do better. Man. You get encouraged to look better, be better, feel better, and do better. Shout out to barbershops and beauty salons in the Black community.
Man, namely, we just lost the patriarch of the family, Brother Goodwin, just passed. And, when you talked about the barbershops, Goodwin's was definitely one that jumped out in my mind. So
big time.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Shout out to the Goodwin family.
Yep.
And Brother Goodman was also he was the one that employed Ernie Chambers. Yep. So the legendary Ernie Chambers worked out of Goodwin shop. And you're talking about where the political talk happened in the 60s.
Man,
that was the kind of the Black City Hall was that barbershop. So
yeah.
Actually, check out A Time for Burning.
Yep, just gonna say it. Time for Burning. There's some scenes of Brother Chambers in that barbershop mid head. He cutting the head in the middle of the interview. Talking about what's going on. Go ahead.
Every time I see that, I'm like, man, if I was in that chair, I'd be like, hey, man, politics is cool, but watch what you're doing, bro.
Got to get to this job interview. Yeah. So yes, I love that. Big shout out to the barbershop. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, give me another cultural place in Omaha that you think is super significant.
Okay. Well, I have two. One is the obvious one, of course, the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation grounds, representing two actual, eras of history, especially Black history in Omaha. Of course, the original time when Reverend Little and his wife, the father, of course, Brother El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, might know him as Malcolm X. Again, that area is the land that was owned by the Little family up until they were ran out of Omaha by the Ku Klux Klan. And just learning about what was going on in that era as far as Reverend Little and his wife, Mrs. Little, being Garveyites, and just some of the movements that were going on, the organizations that were active during that time is very, very interesting to learn at that grounds. And then also the second era connected to that grounds, again, the movement of Miss Rowena Moore and the work that she put in to actually get that ground, get a historical plaque placed on that grounds, to get, the 17 plus acres secured in ownership, and to set the foundation for what it is that we see today and what we can see in the future. Again, with the foundation recently receiving a grant, I'm very excited to see what the next chapter holds. But again, several eras and several chapters in Black history in North Omaha being told and held at that ground. So that's definitely a place that's always going to be sacred. We're talking about cultural locations. I'm glad you asked that. But the other one is something that I recently learned about when we were talking, I think last week on the morning show. And this is something that has also opened up a little known era or chapter about North Omaha. And that is shout out to our partners at Flatwater Free Press. This Black Castle, if you are familiar, Brother Wesley Dacus in the North Omaha Castle. Apparently, this is a castle that was featured in the Green Book. Speaking of books, if you don't know about the Green Book, that was a very valuable resource, especially for African Americans and people of color trying to travel through Jim Crow America. And just to have that presence in Omaha, when you think of Jim Crow, you think of the South. You think of the Alabamas, the Mississippis, the Georgias of the world. But you don't think of Jim Crow being alive and well in Nebraska. But yet here you have a piece of history still alive, still erect. You can visit this place today as far as this castle that was located right on, I believe, 20th and Burdett. Here we go. Burdett and Florence Boulevard was right there on the corner. So again, and it's
20th and Burdett.
Yep. Kind of Burdett, actually Florence Boulevard. So it's next block over. But yep, Burdett Street and Florence Boulevard still there. Still looks like a castle and still a part of history.
That's crazy. I love it. I thought she was gonna give me Culture House, man. We got to shout out Culture House. If you don't know about Culture House, man, shout out to Marcy Yates, who has put something together that is not just for culture and the arts, but it's been kind of ground zero for Freedom Summer 2020 and protests and political conversations and the like. And it's all about getting together and becoming of like mind with each other when it comes to that through art and culture. So shout out. It's kind of an obvious one. It's in the name, Culture House. Yeah. Check it out. CULXR House. It's at 3014 North 24th Street. Definitely do your research and check that out too. It's definitely a culturally significant place for us in North Omaha in a big, big way. Before we get out of here, man, I want to give some flowers. There was our producer suggested that we think of some folks that we want to give some flowers to as well.
Yes,
so
yes.
I did a little research on that, and I wanted to do that as our last part of the show, if you don't mind.
Please.
Feeling good about that?
Oh, yeah. You know, we all about giving respect, putting some respect on folks' name. Who you got?
That's right. Well, I got a couple of folks that actually just passed away that I wanted to give some flowers to. I'm sorry that I it's one of those situations. You didn't give them to them while they were here,
man. Unfortunately,
but they did get a lot of accolades because they were pretty significant to the culture. James Bernard is one of them. He just passed away. 2025, December 29th, just passed away. He's he was co-editor in chief at The Source, which is a hugely important magazine to the hip hop culture, to our generations. The Source was kind of the Bible when it came to that.
Man.
You put out a hip hop record. Then it got into The Source, and if you got 5 mics, and you was a legend with their rating system. You can get 1 mic or 2 mics, 3 mics. Yeah, couple of my favorites got the 5 mics. So it was a serious magazine, and it was the guys who put those magazines together, I feel, were pioneers in literature. So co-editor in chief at The Source. Then he co-founded XXL, which was another magazine that was super huge in the hip hop community as well in the late 90s. He just passed away. He actually passed away in March and wasn't found until December 29th. So that was kind of a little bit of a morbid story. But yeah, he just passed. He's officially passed in March, and they declared him officially passed December 29th, 2025. So. And then we also lost another legend in that same community, Sasha Jenkins. Excuse me. He passed away. He passed away May of 2025. He back in the day, he started that Beat Down newspaper in '92. It was really huge. I kind of remember that. He also started Ego Trip magazine, which was also huge in the culture as well. He started that in the '90s, '94. He did stuff like Ego Trip's White Rapper TV show. This was something that came on back in the 90s. And what he's really famous for in our circles is he ended up being a writer on Aaron McGruker's The Boondocks cartoon. So in the later 90s and 2000s. So he also was a music editor at Vibe magazine, which was Quincy Jones's music magazine. He wrote articles for Spin, Rolling Stone. He co-authored Eminem's biography. He has a film that is actually on Canopy called Fresh Dressed. All about hip hop culture and clothing coming up. So you can check that on Canopy as well. That was his directorial debut. So yeah, that was what's up. He wrote, he played, he was a musician. He did a project with Murs and members of the Bad Brains. He also directed Negroes on Ice with Prince Paul. That Prince Paul thing was hilarious. So he did a lot, man. He really did a lot. He was also a member of the National Arts Journalism Program, of which I had never heard until I read that. And I was like, next thing I'm digging into. Yeah. That sounds right up our alley.
Look into that.
For real. The National Arts Journalism Program. Okay. We got to see what's up. So yeah, he passed away in May of 2025. So you just wanted to give him his flowers as well. I feel like the hip hop, especially the hip hop editors and writers, super significant to the Black community, to our community, and they don't get as much accolades and as many flowers as other writers, but they carry the culture in a huge way. So just wanted to give flowers to James Bernard, Sasha Jenkins, and hopefully one of these days I'll turn into some kind of a music historian, journalist, writer for a major magazine. That would be something I would love to do in my life. So shout out to them.
Okay. Man, great shout outs. I have just one, but it's something that hits close to home. I thought you might have shouted the brother out, but definitely have to recognize Brother Thomas Curry, somebody who was a documentarian in his own right. A great photographer, storyteller in his own right as well. Speaking of the human story, somebody who had his own way of capturing and conveying that story, and did it in a great way, man. So definitely gonna miss, and kudos, great job to Brother Thomas Curry.
I'm glad you brought him up. Brother Curry was one of a kind. He was the North Omaha historian as far as we're concerned. This brother used his own money to publish his own books of photos that he took of people in North Omaha, the people, the events, to sit down with him and have him go page by page and say, this is so-and-so, and she did this, and this is her cousin. And I mean, our next project together was to record him doing that, because you can look at his photos and you can not get the context all the way until he starts telling that story, because he was such a storyteller. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be honored over there at the Union for Contemporary Art. I think they're going to put a gallery in his name. That's coming up. So definitely check that out at Union for Contemporary Art. I'm sure there'll be some things there on the history of him. Brother Thomas Curry, shout out to him, man. He definitely deserves his flowers for real.
Yeah. Legend. They say when we lose an elder, we lose a library, and it was definitely a library of North Omaha history. Will be missed.
We can do a whole hour on giving people flowers, but it's been an hour already, so we're going to go ahead and get on up out of
here. Yeah. Again, big shout out to the library. Thank you for allowing us to do this. A year already. Let's do it again next time. Peace.
Taking it over. Book drop. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
Or afternoon.
The book drop. We got to make a song for the book drop now. The book drop.
Hey, the book drop. Book drop.
I have a lot of I just loved it. And one of the biggest things that I loved, Maggie, is they're describing their show as a digital neighborhood association. Mm-hmm. That is phenomenal. Yeah. That is exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. And I love that.
And I feel like every week when we talk about the horrors that exist of just being too online or having too much access to things, that this is one of the ways that it's actually working really well.
Yes.
And I kind of love that this episode is happening right after we did our News Literacy Week episode.
Yeah.
Of it's that staying informed and how people are able to keep in touch with what's happening in our local community. They're doing, because they're podcasting / kind of live streaming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 to 9.
Yeah.
Reminds me of being a kid and your parents having the radio on in the morning and you're getting the local news, but this is local. These are the
hyper
real
local
people. Yeah.
So important. And also and we'll include this link in the show notes as well, is that I get their weekly recap, which I love.
Oh, I should get that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll send you a copy of it, because that really helps me frame what is, along with their show, but what else is happening, what to pay attention to, in all the ways, politics, art, music, everything, whatever they're touching on is summarized there, and I love it.
And that's interesting to think, because they are broadcasting so frequently, then get the report at the end of the week. You can kind of see how things have progressed, how things kind of flow, because news isn't always orderly. It doesn't give you everything all at once right up front, which is another one of the problems I feel with a 24 hours news cycle, is we're constantly putting in little bits and sometimes getting it wrong or speaking too soon, and it's kind of nice to okay, let's get all the bits together.
I know.
And I like that they do that. It's through email?
It is.
Okay.
Yes. I get a weekly email on Friday.
All right.
Yeah.
I would definitely be interested in that.
Absolutely.
I love that they're so excited about our New Central Library, which no brainer for us, because we're always talking about it, but so happy to hear that they're excited to kind of come see it.
I agree. And I also love that the discussion was around the takeover of Black History Month and literacy, with the emphasis on the importance of reading in Black communities. So important.
Did you know about the Black Literacy Matters Conference?
No.
Okay.
And when is that?
So this year is happening, I believe, in Virginia. I think it's in Norfolk, Virginia. So we do have a little bit of a tie here at OPL. One of our board members, Clarice, is, I believe she's like started it. We were,
oh my God, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
And I just met her and she's
great.
She's so great.
Yeah. No, this, I highly recommend visiting Black Literacy Matters, just their website, just their resources, the things they're talking about, their recommendations. Wonderful. Such a great resource. So, I want to say this is the second conference. It's either the second or the third. OPL was present at their very first conference because it was in Omaha.
Yay.
So we got to have a booth there. And it was really, really amazing because we had people from all over the country come. But of course, then we had tons of local people. And I mean, educators, people from, school districts, from like the state, from the education department, like all these. But then also just like concerned caregivers, parents, grandparents, people who are that believe in the importance of literacy,
right?
The barriers and the issues that Black children can face when it comes to that, either just for access, for reading disabilities, for just trying to keep like interest level. It's such a wide. It's a wide spectrum of experiences. And that was something I came away from that conference of I'm so glad this exists. Amazing group, amazing conference, but also this is a local organization and they work year round here in Omaha. They're always doing that work. And so it's nice that they're here. They're doing like stuff nationally, but like how cool that we have it here in Omaha.
I love it.
And how cool that Clarice is on our board. Thank you, Clarice, for being on the board.
We're so thrilled about that. And I also love that Paul mentioned the historical and cultural reading list. And he shares his personal reading list of his family memoir, Saturday Morning Chronicles by his father, also Paul B. Allen, and about the music and the platters. And also he mentions The Deuce by his cousin Patricia, a memoir of North Omaha's Black Mecca community on 24th and Lake Street during the 50s through the 80s. Also, another shout out. I did this last year, but I will continue to do it because I think everybody needs to listen to the interview from Stuart Chittenden's Lives podcast of Paul's story and why he is so invested in storytelling about his community and for Sky Omaha and why it exists. So we'll drop that link into the show notes. It is one of the best interviews, and Paul is just a natural storyteller, and I was mesmerized. I said that's probably the last time I was mesmerized by his story and absolutely loved it. It was one of my very favorite interviews that Stuart has done over the years. That's for amazing. Sure.
Yeah. I also just think it's very, very cool and interesting when it's like, wow, you have multiple people in your family who've written a book.
I know, right?
Very impressive.
Yes. Yeah.
One thing that it did call to mind that I was good. Did you ever watch A Time for Burning? The documentary that kind of made me just think of just when I was just the time frame that he was talking about with Patricia's memoir that I had just thought of it. So if you listeners, if you're unfamiliar with The Time for Burning, it was
Ernie Chambers.
It won an Emmy. I want to say it won an Emmy. It was a documentary, I think, for PBS.
Yes.
Frontline?
I think so.
Might have been a Frontline.
Yeah.
I know it won tons and tons of awards. It was a documentary made in the 60s about, I think it was integrating a church that was in North Omaha. And Ernie Chambers is in it, which is another one of those Ernie. That I always like. I was talking to my husband recently about, what was it? It was Back to the Future, and Christopher Lloyd in that movie. Sorry, I pray to God this ties back in. Like Christopher Lloyd in that movie, and as a kid watching that movie and being like, yeah, that guy's like 70, and then now being 40 and being like, how old was Christopher Lloyd when he made that? Because
probably 40.
He's like 80 now. Like
right?
Yeah, we looked up. He was 46.
Oh my gosh!
But I feel that way about sometimes I see Ernie Chambers. I'm like, Ernie Chambers, you were there? How old is Ernie Chambers? You've been the same age to me since I was about forever. 5.
I know.
So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I love it.
I did love also that they highlighted Canopy, which is one of my favorite OPL resources.
For sure. I know they kind of describe it as our Criterion collection.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, for sure.
He plugged that. Yeah, one of the ones he's watched is the Great Migrations, but with Henry Louis Gates Jr., who does the Roots, What Are Your Roots show, also on PBS that I love.
I know, it's so great.
He also just has like a bunch of. You just go on YouTube, like, and just look up Henry Gates Jr. He just has like these like mini like history lessons
Oh, I
that are
love
like
it.
so great.
That's
He has
how
a
I
great run
need to
about the
have a
Harlem-
history lesson is Minnie.
Harlem Renaissance. It's what got me really into Harlem Renaissance. Like actually
Okay.
like looking at the historical background. It is amazing.
We may have to drop one of those in.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I'm a huge fan. So please, get on Canopy. You have access to it with your library card for free.
For free.
And there's so many great ones. And they're really good about making kind of special collections around different holidays or celebrations or recognition.
Sure.
So they have a great collection right now for Black History Month.
They highly curate. Yeah.
Yes.
Which I do love because often when I go to Canopy and or Libby, I do want to see, and actually our website, like I love our curated lists.
Yeah.
It helps.
Last bit, I feel like we have to touch on.
Yeah.
I did love talking about our physical archives and our collections, our microfilm, and how important it is to maintain those and have access to those in the age of AI and fake news.
Oh, for sure.
Which I could probably do an entire podcast episode about, of just like how AI and AI generated like videos and photos, how much they have improved over just the last 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Insane. Like it is very easy to fool people like now with a lot of these things.
Yeah.
I don't know what the future holds with that. I think we're kind of living in it in real time of like how
daily
how we process these things and what we need to kind of do around them. But I agreed with them. I'm like, physical media is still so important.
Yeah. And they specifically talked about the Charles B. Washington collection, the photos of Charles B. Washington with Louis Armstrong and the 68 protest against the boarded up stores of North 24th Street. Also the Indian Congress and the International Exposition. Buddy discusses like the collection of the Indian Congress, and we have a huge collection of Trans-Mississippi International Exposition items, like we have items and photos and so many other like pieces of information along with that. And also it gives a historical context to the Native American and global cultural exchange, which I love that he highlighted that as well, because that really is what that was about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they didn't mention it, but it did remind me also when he was talking about that, we very recently in our genealogy and local history room had a display up from, we had a librarian named Carolyn Green, who I think was actually the last bookmobile librarian at OPL.
I know exactly what photo. I
occasionally run into Carolyn's family members when I'm out. They'll come up and tell me who she was. And I'm like, I get so excited. I'm like, it's another one. Look at Poppy. This is what we have now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she, in the late 70s, early 80s, just decided she was going to do this as like a little project. She wrote to a lot of Black celebrities asking them why they love libraries, why they love literacy, like why is reading important, and just saw what happened. And she got so many letters back. I know one of them was Malcolm Jamal Warner from The Cosby Show.
That's so awesome.
So cute and so amazing. And we had them on display here at the Genealogy and Local History Room. They are in our archives. And when we get to Central, if you would like to see those, I bet you could schedule a time with one of our librarians.
She's like our social media person before social media.
Kind of.
I love it.
She had a vision.
She did.
Carolyn, you're great.
What a force. Do we have some books?
We got some books. Let's talk. They talked about a few picks, but I think we had a few that we wanted to touch on. This title is amazing. It is Harriet Tubman Live in Concert, a novel by Bob the Drag Queen. Are you familiar with Bob the Drag Queen?
No.
Amazing. One of our foremost drag queens currently working. You probably love.
Okay.
And what a great name, Bob the Drag Queen.
I know.
It's simple.
It is simple.
I do just want to read from the publisher because I think they did the best job describing this. So, in the age of miracles where our greatest heroes from history have magically, unexplainably returned to shake us out of our confusion and hate, Harriet Tubman is back, and she has a lot to say. Harriet Tubman and four of the enslaved persons she led to freedom want to tell their story in a unique way. Harriet wants to create a hip-hop album and live show about her life, and she needs a songwriter to help her. She calls upon Darnell, a once successful hip-hop producer who was topping the charts before he was outed on a BET talk show. Darnell has no idea what to expect when he steps into the studio with Harriet, only that they have a short period of time to write a legendary album so she can take it on the road. Over the course of their time together, they not only create music that will take the country by storm, but confront the horrors of both their past and learn to find a way to a better future. The entire description just sounds like something that you would have as a dream and then be like, so I had a dream that Harriet Tubman wrote a hip hop album. And then she went on the road and
there you go.
I mostly I love Bob the Drag Queen is hilarious. But also, very celebratory of Black history, always very in your face about it. So I love this kind of the joining together of these forces. Just really delighted me. It's a great book. We have it in our collection.
Love it.
The next book I wanted to tell you about is I think off mic I might have asked you if you're familiar with the Z-Way.
Yes.
I loved, and you said probably not.
Probably not.
That's okay. I first got introduced to Z-Way through social media because she was really big on TikTok and Reels, and then she got a show on HBO, which is like a little bit of a chat show. It's like an interview show.
Sure.
But she's really great at making people feel uncomfortable in a way that I super, super enjoy. So her book is called Black Friend. She kind of looks at this as like their culture at large, like the whole idea of, I can't be racist. I have Black friends.
Right.
Like if I could describe this book in one phrase, it would be that. It's a series of essays. She is hilarious. I would say if you watch the Z-Way show, she is purposely trying to make people feel uncomfortable. If you watch the outtakes, she is friends with all of these celebrities that she has on, and a lot of the outtakes will be them just laughing uncomfortably, going do people really think you're like this? And she's like, I don't know, maybe. And they're like, I'm so uncomfortable right now. And she's like, good, this is gonna be great. No,
I'm fascinated.
I'm gonna show you a clip of her after the show. But
okay,
I love Z-Way, so I had to put her in there.
I love it.
What did you do?
Well, I've talked about a couple of these books before, but they're so great. I'm just going to continue to talk about them. So I feel like my theme this year is what I'm currently reading, what I've read, and also what I want to read. It's my three.
It's good. It's
so I'm still listening to When Trees Testify, The Science, Wisdom, History, and America's Black Botanical Legacy by Miranda L. Montgomery. Mm-hmm. It's such a great book. I'm learning so much, and I feel that I want everybody to read this book. I really do. But so it is described as a stunning cultural and personal reclamation of Black history and Black botanical mastery. And it offers up lessons from the natural world shared through the stories of long-lived trees. So I just heard her bit about the angel oak. She did a whole chapter about oak trees. And the angel oak is on Johns Island, which my mom's best friend lives on Johns Island. So many years ago, visiting my parents, we went to Johns Island to visit our friend Pat. And we visited this massive tree. It is so huge and so beautiful. But to listen to her sort of just talk about what it looks like and the age of this tree and how miraculous that it's been around so long, and also its history. It's joyful and sometimes not so joyful and hard history. It's just really, really something I feel like everybody can read, and I think it's really powerful, very powerful. And my next one, which is on my coffee table,
there we go.
And I feel like it's a culinary coffee table book, and it is Recipes from the American South by Michael Twitty. And I mean, he's such an amazing author, and he's a historian, James Beard award-winning author as well. And in the introduction to this groundbreaking recipe collection, he says and declares that no one state or area can give you the breadth of the Southern story or fully set the Southern table, which I love. That sentence alone, think about that. And so to answer this, he collects recipes from the American South, from Louisiana Bayou to Chesapeake Bay, showcasing more than 260 of the region's most beloved dishes. And I have it on my coffee table. It's actually going to pick it up tonight and start reading through it because I feel like he's such a beautiful, beautiful writer, almost he is poetic.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. And I felt that when I picked up and listened, because I read his book, The Cooking Gene, A Journey Through African-American Culinary History in the Old South. pure poetry, y'all. Like listening to this, I was so moved by listening to him, and he narrates the book. So very moved by this book that I thought about it, and I still think about it. So I actually may pick it up again and listen to it again.
Well, I love that you picked a cookbook for this one too, because it just also reminds that how people's history can be squashed, or like they try to get rid of it and they try to erase history, but so much of it truly lives on in food, like in the foods that people prepare, and it kind of comes down the line.
Yep, absolutely.
Amazing.
And the one that's been on my TBRs, which I have not picked up yet, but I will, is The Fraud by Zadie Smith.
I love this.
I know. And so it's basically about the true story of identity fraud, a trial in the 1800s known as the Tichborne trial, and has a Scottish housekeeper and an ailing novelist, and so much more packed in this novel. And my friends say it was one of the best audio listens ever. Wildly entertaining. She does, and Zadie narrates the book, and apparently she does all the characters so differently and so well that I have had multiple people tell me how awesome the audio version of this book is. So I can't wait to pick it up.
I think I've probably had this one on my TBR for a while, but now that I especially know that the audiobook is good.
I know. You're like, I'm there.
I'm sitting here on my phone right now.
Maggie is the audio.
Oh, it's available. Sorry, guys. I'm borrowing. It'll be ready. I promise I'll get through it. If you see that it's borrowed and be like, oh, she's still reading it. Stop it.
I know. Let me have it.
Yeah.
So that's on my future.
Amazing.
Yeah. As I have so many, but I want to lift that up in today's discussion. Yeah.
This was a great time, as always.
I know.
Thanks again to our friends at Sky Omaha. Thank you for being part of the Digital Neighborhood Association.
Yes.
Really being the Digital Neighbor Association.
And part of the Book Drop podcast.
Yeah.
You're our family. We're family.
And being part of the selection committee for Omaha Reads.
Yes. Thank you, Paul.
Which sounds like they are in the middle of looking at some titles right now. So I'm excited to see what comes up as the final selections, the nominees.
Top 5 or
coming
sometimes
soon,
it's 6.
right?
Yeah, I think so. Very soon. Yeah. Actually, you're right. Any day.
I wonder if we could do like an Oscar style of like when they announce the nominations, you and I just being like, and nominated now.
Exactly. I love it.
One last thing before we go. Last week we read all of the query responses for our January question. This is now February, and we have a new question. So if you listened to our podcast previously, you know we asked a query every week. This year we are moving to once a month because it gives people a little extra time as they find episodes if they would like to participate. So our question for February is, tell us your favorite local content creators and influencers.
I love this, and I am still thinking about that. I might have a bunch.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I am too. We started getting a ton of answers to this query already. So we may have to have a whole show.
Oh, amazing. Give us those answers. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Every book, resource, or thing that we mentioned that we can link to on the internet can be found in list form in our episode description. So if you missed something we talked about, check out that list.
The Book Drop is produced by Omaha Public Library. Our theme music is Trapped in Amber, courtesy of the band Lucid Fugue. Don't forget to subscribe to The Book Drop on your favorite podcast app and like and follow Omaha Public Library on social media.